I'm excited to have Jonna Rae Bartges here with us today. And we're going to talk about a topic that is coming to all of us. Both loved ones are going to pass on, and we ourselves are going to do that. And Jonna Rae and I talked a little bit about what would be a good topic to do. And we thought this one was a pretty good one. Welcome, Jonna Rae.
Thank you.
I appreciate that. I want to just reiterate that Jonna Rae is an author, a minister, an Emmy-winning producer. She has worked for top-level international companies like Disney and SeaWorld. She's a heavy hitter, and she's a big shot, and she's here. And in my mind, she's a very big shot in this world of spirituality. In order for me to stay on the topic that we're going, I can't go on about that, but suffice it to say that you're going to hear from someone who's really connected with the divine. And just to briefly talk about a phrase that was given to Jonna Rae about grief. Can you tell us what we were just talking about?
Yes, I'd be happy to. And I was meditating and praying, getting ready to talk to you and share information with people. And something that just came out of the blue was grief remembers the love that created it. So even in our deepest grief and our deepest sorrow, there's still that vibration, that frequency of love. And that's what helps us heal this.
Grief remembers the love that created it. That's so cool. That's really neat, really neat. Let's talk a little bit about the fact that you created the Practical Spirituality Institute. And one of the foundations of that is humor. That's something that you use quite frequently. Why is that?
That's a great question. I feel that when we are laughing, our heart opens up and we have this connection with each other. And when you think about it, there are so many joyful things happening all around us. And the quality of our life really depends on what we choose to focus on. And so when we find something silly, what's going on, even in serious things, it totally shifts our frequency and it brings us into a higher consciousness. When I myself was dying from a brain aneurysm back in 1989, I was saying things to my neurosurgeon like, I know it's all in my head. And he told me later when I interviewed him for my book 2 decades later, that the only reason I survived was because I didn't go down into fear. I stayed up in a higher frequency.
Okay.
Silly jokes. And as a result, everything in your body responds to what you're thinking, what you're saying. And so I was able to get through that surgery and come back just as ornery as ever, in no small part because I kept my energy, my frequency high with bad jokes. And I began all my classes by saying, how many of you believe in telekinesis? Raise my hand. Or like,
I love that. I love that show. I never get tired of that one. Just to summarize in a way that humor and laughter and having a spirit that's high, it helps not only our mood and our psyche, it also helps our body. And so, yeah, more of that, please. That's so great. That's so great. Describe yourself in some communications as the happy medium between the worlds of science and spirit. Could you talk about that a bit?
Absolutely. Growing up as one of 3 kids in Allentown, Pennsylvania, my dad was a school teacher, my mom was a homemaker, and I was having visions and seeing things and feeling things and knowing things. And my parents let me know that was not okay to talk about that. And so I kept getting the message it was important to pass as normal. And so it was always having to get the best grades in class and excel in all these extracurricular activities and things like that. So having a normal base actually has helped me work with people because when you meet people where they're at, instead of just saying you can go into a past life and get information, that's a little bit scary. But if you are talking about the scientific principles behind that, like entanglements on the unified field or the collective unconscious that Carl Jung talked about, where you don't have to have literally had an experience to have a memory of it. When you're working from that perspective, with proven science and psychology as the base, then people are more likely to be able to let go of any hesitation and restriction. And then we build on that to take it into a higher frequency, a more spiritual way of being with it.
I think that's wonderful, and I'm gonna talk more about that a little bit later on. And I wanna go into a little bit that you live in the Asheville, North Carolina area,
Yes.
and you give classes online, and do you do any in-person work as well?
I had monthly in person classes until Helene came through and wiped out the spiritual center. I
Oh,
call that.
geez.
No.
Minor detail.
Yeah. And I was also teaching the class where nurses actually get continuing education credits for learning how to do past life regressions and talking to people in spirit. We're using it all in the scientific terms. And that was Lenore Ryan University Center for Graduate Studies. And that also stopped being available after Helene.
Okay.
Right now, it's mainly Zoom. But the good thing about that is it's opened it up because I have students that I'm working with all around the country and in other countries. So,
Yes. Yes, I could not attend a class, realistically speaking, in Western North Carolina, seeing as how I live in Pennsylvania, and that is a wonderful opportunity then. And if anyone wanted to just quickly, if anyone wanted to find out what classes you teach and what their options are as for signing up for them, they would just go online and
yeah,
look up PSI.
studies. Yeah, psistudies.com.
Okay.
And
Okay.
you'll find.
PSI.
And one thing I wanted to throw in for people who were thinking it's not as effective a connection when it's virtual, when it's on Zoom. I was teaching a Reiki class, and it got to the part of the class where I do a guided meditation and then I do the attunements on people. And so this was right after COVID hit. And so I had to switch the class to being just a phone call.
Right.
I am old. And so I was not nimbly jumping into like Skype, and Zoom wasn't even that much of a thing back then, so,
Yes.
at least for me. So it was just a phone call. It was a conference call, and everyone on
Okay.
the phone, and I was teaching them that way. And we got to the part where I was doing the attunement, and that's where I amp up my frequency, amp up
Yes.
theirs. And I heard a click on the phone, and I thought that's weird that somebody would hang up during this, but I kept going. And then after another couple seconds, I heard a dial tone. I had knocked out the phone line doing the attunement. And so I immediately called back in, and, and everybody was just saying, we thought that was part of the attunement. So,
Oh my goodness. Yeah. I know that electronics are very subject to spiritual things.
yes, yes,
They're a way that spirit can cross over into this world as well.
that is.
And
I tried it again. I tried to do the attunement again, the phone conversation, and again, knocked out the line. So that's when I realized I need a broader bandwidth. So I forced myself to learn how to do this. And
wow,
yeah,
thank goodness. Thank goodness you did. Yeah.
everyone's thinking it's not as powerful when it's not in person. Oh, yes, it is.
Oh, yes, it is. It is. Today, I wanted to talk about one aspect of people passing over, crossing over, and that is if a loved one is getting ready to transition. And just to say the word transition, I mean, it's people commonly say it's we're going to die. I'm afraid of what's going to happen when I die, or I have fear of death. But I wanted to spend a couple of minutes just talking about the fact that really death is really only involves this human body. Our consciousness continues on. And we know that by so many people who have had near death experiences. So they themselves have gone over to the death and then they come back to this human body and then they can talk about what happened, what was over there, and many other things. I ask you to just talk a little bit about how would you talk to somebody who is nervous about what's going to happen when I die?
I think the first thing that's important to do is to just normalize conversations about death. Because right now it's like the elephant in the room, that it's there. Everyone is going to go through this experience. and are kind of frightened to even talk about it. Something that I find very comforting to share with people is that even astrophysicists are talking about the fact that death is not an end. There are medical studies, scientific research data proving that consciousness continues even when it's not in physical form. So one way I try to normalize it is to tell people this is a rental. We have this for a limited period of time. But the actual awareness that's driving this rental vehicle does continue.
Yes.
It's not limited. And so just talking with people about what do you think happens when we die? Things like that. And then expanding the conversation into, have you ever felt like your grandmother around you after she died? And it's so interesting because years ago, when I was executive news producer at the ABC affiliate here in Nashville in the early 80s, I was going to be talking to the Association of Psychologists in North Carolina about how to do a credible television interview. And I got to talk to the man who was at the time president of the association. And after just a few questions, he was totally talking about connecting with loved ones in spirit and just intuitively knowing things. It's like all of us are having these experiences, but we haven't been told that it's okay to talk about them. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
So when we can go ahead and introduce this in a very non-threatening way and not like in a guess what happens, but just like a normal conversation about what do you think happens? And have you felt loved ones close by? Like a pet that you loved. Have you ever felt them around? Or you get a new pet and it starts to do what the old pet did, almost like the old pet was training it. And just having these what ifs. Is this a possibility conversation? And that starts to make it more comfortable for people.
Yes. And when we're talking about normalization, many times when people are approaching the end of this physical life, they are in poor health. Not always, but many times. And I think normalizing that is important as well. That, yeah, this is the reality. This is where you're at. You can still be happy, even though things aren't going towards prolonged human life, but that you can still be happy. This is okay. It's normal. This is that I hear over and over in interviews that the body knows how to die and it's all taken care of. Don't worry about it. And it's where you are in your health journey is normal as well.
Absolutely. And just take a look at our pets because what they will do when they realize that their time is coming, they will want to go out and curl up under a bush and just gently leave their body. And we're the ones who want to do like a kidney transplant for a goldfish. That's more about our fear as opposed to
Yes.
being in touch with the rhythms of our beautiful planet and of our life cycle.
Yes. One thing that you mentioned when we were getting ready to talk today was you can help someone who's getting ready to transition by opening the door to conversations.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because in our culture, this is something that generally isn't discussed. When you talk about it, when you say, I just read an interesting article, or I just saw this documentary, or I just heard Jim talking to someone about near death experiences and stuff like that, just casually letting them know it's okay to talk about this. Because something that I have found in my work with people as an intuitive consultant is as your life is drawing to a close, you realize that no matter what your age is, and you might start like giving away things to friends. You might start telling people that you love them, just little things, because it's like there's a part of you that intuitively knows that, okay, about done. And something that I love to share with people is a quote from Richard Bach's book, Illusions. And this particular quote is, here's a test to find out if your mission on earth is finished. If you're alive, it's not. I use that in my late husband's eulogy. It's just very comforting. It's like, I truly believe that we're here to do things, to learn things, and we will stay here until we've accomplished that. And then we gently go into the next vehicle. But just having a conversation like that with someone, what do you think? Why do you think you're here? What do you think your mission is? what's been your spiritual journey this lifetime? And that really opens the door for people too.
Yes, and I can just imagine as you're talking about it, that if someone were to ask me those things, it would also help to normalize the situation because it's not supposed to be a hidden thing. I had the experience where someone in my family passed away, and I used the word that they died. And some of my family members were not too crazy about that because they thought it was a harsh term to use. And it to me, it just showed that we keep the topic of passing on, dying, whatever, we keep that hidden away. It's not a topic in Western society. It's not a topic that we talk about.
We're starting to change that. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross did a phenomenal job, the psychiatrist who basically brought death out of the closet with her work on basically creating hospice and creating the conversations and reassuring people this is all, this is a journey that we're all going to take. And something that I love to incorporate when I'm working with people on this, whichever side of the veil they're on, if they're getting ready to cross or they're helping a loved one get ready to cross, there is a specific branch of psychology that fascinates me, and it's called positive psychology.
Okay.
And it was created around 1998 when Dr. Marty Seligman became president of the American Association of Psychologists. And he got to determine what they were going to study for the 2 years he was president.
Okay.
And he realized that, okay, we've spent decades studying what messes people up. Let's study what makes people happy. And so for 2 years, they just collected data about what made people happy. And it boiled down to 3 key things. The first was belief in something greater than us. And whether it was God, whether it was compassion, whatever it was, bigger than just us. It doesn't
Right.
us. And then the second thing was your tribe, your friends, 1 or 2 people who have your back, who you can really talk to. And the third thing was purpose, feeling that you had done something important. And so being able to have a conversation with someone about what are the proudest things that you've done in your life, what was significant, that opens the door for them to just start to feel this incredible sense of peace and accomplishment and release the fear that comes with death is approaching. It's happening.
I think it's so wonderful that you're sharing these things with us because we all have gone to visit someone who's in their last days or appears that they are. And there's such a feeling of, I wish I could do something. I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And this is what you can do.
Absolutely.
You can talk with them. You can sit down and have a conversation about what are you most proud of you achieved in this life? What are your greatest memories? And have them think about those things and focus on that and focus on the happiness of life.
You are so right with that, and get some help with that. My husband's friends did a special card drive for him in his final couple months. And each one wrote one particular specific thing that he had done that had meant the world to them. And it wasn't just, you were a great friend. It was specific things like, I'll never forget the week my car was in the shop and you picked me up every morning and took me to work. And Paul would sit there and read through these and he'd have like happy tears. It's like he meant something. He made a difference. And so I highly suggest that you just make that part of like on someone's birthday when they're perfectly well,
right?
Starting to give them feedback, things they did, how they made a difference, a specific difference for you. And that's going to have them realize that, oh my gosh, I have that purposeful thing in my life. I've done things.
I would love to have someone do that for me, to feel that I helped people. I like helping people, try to do it, but it's not a topic that comes up you loaned me your car when mine was broken down, or you gave me a ride when, it was 4 a.m. and I'm sure you didn't want to, or that. Those would be so welcome to hear. And that's such a great thing to do. And I'm just picturing Paul there, just reading these things and just remembering, yeah, we're friends. I loved you. You love me.
Yeah.
We had that together.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And something else to help focus in on this, And this is a little off the wall, but it brings great clarity, is write your own obituary. Even when you're young and healthy, go ahead and write it, because what the obituary is, it's like your story,
Yep.
the Cliff Notes version of your life and the big things that happen. And so do that and then read that and see how that feels and realize, you know what? I can add to this. I can do things now. I can be focusing more on what feels significant and purposeful to me. And so writing an obituary is a wonderful, practical thing to do that can really open the door for these conversations. Like, I'm not done yet. I still want to accomplish this and this, that type of a thing.
Yes, I'm glad you mentioned that because my wife Kathy and I did go to do some pre-planning, and one of the things that the funeral home asked for us to deliver our obituaries, and it took me a while to get down to doing it. But for some reason, one day I just said, today's the day. And I sat down and I did it. And the things that I included in there are not necessarily things that other people, I didn't say I was the president of the XYZ club or that kind of thing. That really wasn't something important to me as I'm wanting people to remember me. That's not it. And so I can say that I had a very good feeling when I finished that up. I felt, yeah, that's it. That's a life that you described.
Yes.
So it's very positive. Yeah.
And if there's still something that you want to be accomplishing, it's
Yes.
wonderful
Yeah.
inspiration, really, to, good motivation to get busy and do that.
Still got time. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's neat. The idea that if a person is still well enough that if you're trying to be with a person who's getting ready to transition, that perhaps you could suggest that you could do things together
Absolutely.
with that person.
Absolutely. I think the coward's way out is for you to say to a terminally ill friend, let me know if I can do anything for you.
Oh, yeah, that just bugs the heck out of me.
Yes. It's you go to them with specific things, whether if they're still mobile, if you could take them to the arboretum to
Right.
enjoy the plants and the flowers, if they'd like to go to a movie with you, if they'd like to go to a concert, something along that line. You make
Right.
suggestions, even something like, I'd love to take you to lunch today or this week sometime,
Yes.
or I'd love to bring you lunch. You come up with the suggestions and then they get to pick and choose. And it just shows such love and such true connection and compassion on your part. And something that Mother Teresa said, which I love, is it's not about doing great things. It's about doing small things with great love. And so even little things that you would do for them, like you bring them an aromatic room spray, or just little things like that, show you're thinking
Right.
of them, that you care, that they're important to you. And you're so grateful that they're in your life. Little things like that mean the world to them. But how much more fun for them to have a list of options of cool things they could do with you than
Yeah.
saying, let me know this.
This is wonderful. This is nice for me to talk about and to feel like there are all these things that I can do to help someone who I love that is getting ready to transition. One of the things we talked about was validating their purposefulness. Could you talk about that a little, please?
Yeah, I think it absolutely goes with the idea that we come here to do something specific. And it doesn't have to be a great thing like Mother Teresa was talking about. It can just be being compassionate, taking time to volunteer, like little things like that.
Yeah, you went to your granddaughter's softball games.
Yeah, that made
You were there for her, right? I
yeah,
mean,
meant the world to her. And you could
right,
see that little smile light up when she saw that you were there in the stands. And
right.
so just doing little things like that and then acknowledging them, realizing that truly did make a difference. Look at how she lit up. Look at how happy she was. And this isn't just with people. It's like volunteering at an animal shelter or adopting a good
Right.
animal, something along that line too, because animals are naturally coming from that heart level that we get to when we're doing compassionate things. And so something like that is incredibly meaningful. But letting people know, again, how they made the world a better place. Things that were unique to them, that
Yes.
that are going to exist long after they're no longer here in physical form.
Yes.
Something else, lots of times when someone is terminally ill, they want to do something for people. It's not about
Right.
them receiving, they want to do something. And an idea that just appeared for me was getting some crystals, like little glass crystals, like you hang in a window,
Okay.
make rainbows, and then getting them several of those, and then telling them, okay, so this is for your spouse, this is for a child, significant people in their life. And then they hold each crystal individually. And as they're holding it, they're putting in it all their blessings for that person and their desires for their happiness and their health and their joy. And so they've blessed these crystals, and then you put them in either like a little box or even a plastic bag with that person's name on. And then that person who's terminally ill can present those crystals to the people while they're still here. And they can see
Oh,
joy in their life, and they're going to have these rainbows that person made for them for the rest of their life. And it's something that only they can give to people that matter. And it's just seeing them light up because here's something positive with their giving of themselves.
yes. It's going to continue to exist
Absolutely.
after they're left their physical body.
It's
Right.
love, it's light, it's beauty, it's all these colors all over the room, that are full of blessings for that person. And it makes them feel wonderful because nobody else could give that.
And we're getting close to finishing up for today's episode, but one of the things that you and I talked about was having a conversation with the person about who are they looking forward to seeing on the other side.
I think that's a beautiful conversation because that helps to normalize talking about death, and
Yes.
also lets them know that there are so many people who love them waiting to welcome them again. There are so many positive connections that they've made through their life that don't end. They just transition into a higher frequency. And so they can actually start to eagerly anticipate seeing these people and being in this space. And something that I love is the story about Steve Jobs' last words. Here's a man, brilliant man, rich enough to buy and sell all of us multiple times over. And
Right.
so here he is at the end of his life in this bed, surrounded by friends and family. And and suddenly he just gets this lovely look on his face. It's so peaceful. And he's looking beyond the room and he just says, "Oh, wow." And then he just gently left his body. So he was overwhelmed by the beauty that he was seeing, and undoubtedly all the people that were there to greet him on the other side, all the pets, all these loving things that were so beautiful, and overwhelmed this man who was known for maybe not being very expressive, but here he was just completely overwhelmed by this beauty that he was seeing. And so talking with people about that, who do you want to see? What questions will you have for them? What do you want to
Right.
share with them? So kind of eager anticipation is a real healing thing too.
Yes. Oh, I think that's right because this is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
This is a great thing that you're going to be able to
Mm,
see them.
exactly.
And I just was watching YouTube this morning with a hospice nurse who showed a picture of a person who's lying in their essentially their deathbed and reaching up and talking to people that you couldn't see, but talking to them and so smiling and so happy that he was greeting them and they were greeting him. And so it's positive, and I appreciate that. And let's finish up for now. I want to do an interview next to talk about what we can do to get ready for our own passing. And not today, this is for someone else. Next time we'll do it for ourselves. And I hope that you'll join me to do that, Jonna Rae.
Absolutely. I'd be honored. Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks.